Dave, you're here?
I am. Happy New Year, Kathy. How are you?
Happy New Year. Did you hear the song that I had for you?
I didn't. What was it?
Oh, my God. Play it, Jim. Just for you, Dave. Here's your Rocky song. You're the champ.
I love it.
The champ is here. The champ is here.
I love it.
Run around
Thank
the
you.
ring. Yes, Dave. Run around the ring. You deserve it. You won it. I'm so very happy for you and your lovely family. But this is for you. Take your bow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, every year at the Army-Navy game, I take my 6 girls when they were growing up, and I'd make them do the Rocky Run and then end up running up the steps. So,
yes!
That means a lot to me. That song means a lot to me. How are you?
I am doing well. Okay, Jim, fade it out, baby. I am doing well. So excited to have you on as well. Well deserved. I don't know if you've been on the station since your win, but I know you and I texted, but this is our first time talking. And congratulations.
Thank you. You know, I feel honestly so privileged to have the opportunity to do this. You and I talked about, how much we needed new leadership in the Senate and in the country. And I just feel grateful. I had such great support from across our Commonwealth, and it was obviously a very close race, but very proud and grateful for your help. So thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's my first time back since winning.
Oh, look at that. Well, thank you so much for gracing this particular show and me as well. So when do you actually swear in?
January 3rd is our swearing in. And, after that, it's going to be just a mad rush because we obviously need to get moving on getting President Trump's nominations in office. And we also are going to have a busy agenda, really trying to turn the country around after the really weak leadership of President Biden. And so there's a big opportunity. I know President Trump's very focused on delivering on the many promises he made, and I am too. So that's the agenda.
Yes, and so you're going to swear in. So that's this Friday. Congratulations. And then you will be a part of reviewing Donald Trump's nominees.
Right.
And voting on that.
I've already started to do that. And listen, here's the starting point for me. President Trump won a big mandate, and he promised disruption. He ran as a disruptor. And so he's going to pick nominees that are disruptors. And I think he's done that in many cases. And, my job, as I see it, is to try to help make sure President Trump has the team he needs to be successful. The people of Pennsylvania elected me to do my job. So I've got a job to interview those candidates, to advise and consent. And I'm taking that very seriously. But my goal is to try to make sure President Trump has what he needs to be successful. And so I've met with a number of candidates already, but next week, I think it'll be mostly meeting with some of these nominees.
I love that so much. And a little birdie told me from your camp that you got your assignments, and Dave, they are very impressive. You are going to be on the Energy Committee, Foreign Relations, and Banking. I mean, all of the hot topics right now, everything we're talking about, whether it's crypto, whether it's the debanking that we see going around, especially energy and foreign relations. There's a lot going on. How are you?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
And, I ask, you don't necessarily get what you want, but you get to share your preferences. And I wanted to be on committees where I could work on the agenda that we talked about on the campaign. And so energy was number one, unlocking Pennsylvania's energy. And so I'm going to have an opportunity to do that. Senator Fetterman's on the Public Works and Environment Committee. So that those two committees deal with all the permitting for natural gas and so forth. So that's going to be a big focus. The Banking Committee has crypto, which, as you know, is a big and growing area in Pennsylvania. But it also has all the sanctions and all the policies you can put against China. And you and I talked about that a lot during the campaign. We need to really toughen up on China, and the Banking Committee allows me to do that. And then, of course, foreign relations. One of the many things we'll talk about is support for Israel and making sure that we stand with our ally in the region against Iran. And so, these committees are going to be very, very connected to the things that I talked about on the campaign, and that was my goal. I didn't want to be on a bunch of committees that were focused on things that weren't the priorities for Pennsylvanians.
I mean, well, these are very, like these three committees cover so many hot topic issues that we're contending with right now. I mean, we have a world that is increasingly less content with following America, whether we're talking about BRICS with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa alliance trying to create uh, a nemesis, a very strong kind of nemesis to America. Whether we're talking about right now, Donald Trump has, and I don't know if it's joking or if it's real. I'm gonna pitch this over to you, but it's this expansionist kind of mindset as he's talking about making, whether it's a joke or not, you were there at the table when
Right.
Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, was there, and he made the joke calling Canada the 51st state. Now, in Christmas, called him Governor Trudeau. He is under a tremendous amount of pressure in his own country with a 69% disapproval rating right now. But then
Right.
you also have Panama Canal and Greenland, wanting to purchase Greenland from Denmark. Do you think these are all jokes? Is he serious? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that the starting point is we had a huge vacuum of leadership under President Biden.
Yeah.
Whether it was the the debacle of the withdrawal from Afghanistan or the weak way that he dealt with Ukraine, or whether it's been the weak leadership in the Middle East or with the Chinese surveillance balloon. So you got this huge vacuum, and all of a sudden Donald Trump showing up, and he's filling that void. He's filling that vacuum. There's strong leadership, and the leaders around the world are recognizing that, and that's why I think there's this enormous outreach to President Trump. They know it's going to be a different kind of leadership, a strong hand. And I think, when he talks about America first, the way I believe he means that, and the way he's talked about it, is he wants to make sure that America is getting its fair shake around the world, that America is not being taken advantage of, and that whether it's, funding of NATO and making sure that the European countries pay their fair share, whether it's trade where we've been getting, the bad deals with Canada or Mexico. President Trump is saying, hey, listen, there's a new day, and America's got to be treated with the respect that it deserves and a fair deal for Americans and for Pennsylvanians. And that was what happened at the Trudeau dinner. It was so interesting. We Dean and I were going to go down there and have dinner with the president, following up on his win and my win in Pennsylvania. And then we got a call that said that the prime minister would be there. And, what he talked about the whole time was the fact that the border was wide open, and that you had fentanyl coming across the border from Canada now, and talked about these unfair deals. And, I never want to predict whether President Trump's kidding or not about, 51st state or Greenland or those things. I'm not sure what he's exactly trying to do there, but what I do think is clear, he's trying to assert American leadership to make sure that America gets a fair deal. And I think that's what happened at that dinner that night with Trudeau. And, every leader in the world is coming to Mar-a-Lago or calling the president to make sure, America's gets the respect it deserves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a fair assessment, is that we need the world to know that there is new leadership going into Washington, D.C., from Congress to from the Senate to Congress, all the way to the White House. Things are about to change. And so I would agree with that assessment. Not only are world leaders going to Mar-a-Lago, but we have a lot of tech bros going to Mar-a-Lago. Do you have any thoughts on this big brouhaha that some is calling a rift within MAGA? Do you see it as a rift or not?
Here's what I would say on this. And you and I together, when we both campaigned, and then, when we talked last year as I was campaigning, one of the things that we have to do is make sure we're creating great jobs and great opportunity for American workers. And, during the campaign, I talked about making sure that we had skilled training for welders and electricians. And
you did.
We had trade policies that made sure that we would have advanced manufacturing here in Pennsylvania, or energy and so forth. So our number one job needs to be making sure that American workers have great opportunity, and that's the long pole in the tent. And so I think that that's what President Trump talked about when he campaigned in Pennsylvania. I think I probably was with him 15 times, on the stage talking about this. This was the center of his campaign: working families, creating great jobs, and that's got to be the centerpiece of his administration. And now, in terms of legal immigration, what I've always said on this, and as you know, Kathy, Dina, my wife, is a legal immigrant.
Yes.
We are that beacon on the hill, which attracts talent from around the world, and we need to have a legal immigration system that allows for that. But the first priority has got to be closing that border. And so, if you ask me what I'm thinking about the next 90 days or 180 days, consistent with what President Trump, it's closing the border, stopping the flow of illegal immigrants, creating great jobs for American workers, creating great opportunity for American workers. We can talk about legal immigration reform down the road, but that, in my mind, would not be the priority right now.
Yeah, I know. And yet, for some, it seems to be the hill they're willing to die on. So I think that this is going to be something. I was telling someone yesterday, I never thought that leaving out of 2024, going into 2025, the number one topic on my mind would be H-1B visas. I didn't think that would be, but it does. But it does put a spotlight on the quality of our own culture here in America and what we are and what we're doing to breed excellence in our country. Because as I tell my children, you're not just competing with fellow Americans, but you're literally competing with the world. And if ever there was a time that this was brought out, it was with this, H-1B discussion.
Well, you're right about that, Kathy. And the thing that I know we both agree on is that part of the Trump agenda and part of, the way to get America back where it needs to be is fixing our education system. Yeah. And, I don't think we look at our education system and not say we're failing. We're 27th in the world in terms of industrialized countries, in terms of the quality of our education. And so we've got incredible talent here with the American workforce, but we need to make sure we're educating people well. And that's why one of the things I talked about, and I think President Trump's going to act on this, is making sure we do everything we can to have school choice, because that creates opportunity for everybody across our country and make sure that our schools are truly competitive. So right now, to succeed in making great opportunity for American workers, we need to have great schools and great training, and there's a lot of work to do on both of those, and that's part of the next 100 days, the next 4 years, is making sure we do that.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much. Hit that outro music of Rocky. Take your lap around the ring, Dave. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Kathy.
Congratulations.
Best for 2025. I'm so glad to be on with you today. Have a great new year.
Yes, you and your family. Tell your wife I said hello. Blessings.
I will. You too. Bye-bye.